Writing PRDs or product requirement document is one of the most essential skills to be a product manager. A product requirement document or a PRD is something that a tech team, product team, sales and marketing team effort to understand what a product or a feature does. Now, before I jump into the video, let's be very clear that PRD is not the same as BRD. So how do you write a great PRD? Let's get started. PRD should have three broad things, right? It should have the what of the problem, meaning what we want to build. Second, why we need to build it. And finally, what we need to answer, how of the problem. Now, you won't go out there and tell your tech team how to code this out, right? Your job is only to tell them how you can approach. If you want the user to go via current flow from A to B, you will tell your tech team that. These are three broad structures. Now, let's get into detail of each of these. Let's first start by understanding what three broad things that you need to figure out and what is the problem, what's being done to solve the problem today, and what will tell us if the solution works. Segmented each of the three questions into further subpoints, right? For example, what is the problem will have use case or problem definition. Then what's being done to solve this will have current solution and user flow, and then finally what works will have business metrics, performance metrics, and adoption metrics. Let's start by what is the problem. Now, this is important. If you can't communicate what the problem is correctly, take this seriously, because they know that this problem itself is not important, which is why we're not invested enough time. So you need to be very, very clear about this. This should have use case and problem definition. I'm taking two examples. So there is problem A in green across all of these sections, and then there is a problem B in blue. Let's take the first problem. It takes 20 hours to travel from location A to location B. This is the problem that we need to solve. Typically what will happen is, now you'll answer why we need to solve this. But let's stick to what for now. So people are taking a train from location A to location B. The reason is that there is bad connectivity of a route, and then current user flow is where a user goes to station A, the train goes to station B. The problem is station A to station B takes 20 hours. Now, how do we, so if we decide to take this problem up, is there a way to track? Yes. So if you're able to reduce the time by any number. Let's also look at other problem that we've taken, which is it takes 10 seconds to load web pages. You are improving an existing feature. The current solution is, we don't have a current solution. We are just seeing a lot of drop-offs, and current user flow is that user is visiting pricing page and then goes to web page A and then drops off because of high time. How do we track if the solution had worked? Is because if the number of paid users increase and the number of drop-offs decrease on this specific page, you know the solution would. So now that we understand the what of the problem, let's understand the why of the problem as well. Why is the problem important to solve, and why hasn't someone else solved it? Impact of the product. Let's take the same examples from earlier. So the reason why we should build this is because there are 500 people traveling daily, paying 100. This means 50,000 daily, meaning 15 lakh per month. And we have the infrastructure to do it. There's a lack of competition and pressing pains are definite adoption opportunity. To answer for the second problem itself, we are losing out on customers daily. Now, the other thing that you can also look at answering, and this is for your own curiosity, is why hasn't someone else solved it? Problem is very hard to solve, or it's a new problem. First problem is too complex to build because it goes via forest and immediate road infra is not possible. Your company or your product is not great at building road infra. You might not want to look at this problem at all. Alright, moving on to the final section of a PRD before I give you a final template. Now, this is more execution focused. Now, this has three sub questions: UI UX design, or the API design, or proposed user flow, or the number of features to build. So think of it from the perspective of the journey itself. If they want to spend 10 hours in a train, what are the things that would ensure that the users have in order for them to have good experience? For the second problem about the web page, it might not be relevant because the UI is not changing. Maybe if the UI is changing, vendor A to vendor B, so that's something that you'd be putting. Second, proposed user flow is when you'll show the entire journey of the user. So if this was the train, the other thing that I want to talk about now, the number of features or product in order to solve for this. So how do we do this? By building X number of features. But if the same team is doing all of this, right, you still need to define priorities. So if the same team is building airport and domestic flights and taking government approval, you need to prioritize which one is necessary first. These are again the high level and kind of give you understanding of why we build PRDs in the first place. So what you're seeing on the screen right now is the structure of a PRD. You can refer. So what I'm naming the header of the doc is building flight from A to B. The very first thing that we are looking at is the problem definition, where the use case is it takes 20 hours to travel from location A to B. Now, why should we solve this problem? Again, I mentioned that this is a great revenue opportunity and there is a lack of competition, and this is also a pain. Current solution is something that we discussed. You can also build a flow like this. Finally, the issue with the current approach, and then you propose solution. You would ideally want to divide it in phases. Now, in this case, phase 1 is to get government approvals. Once you get government approvals, you can move on to subsequent phases. The objectives here are the BRD of the project, which is the business requirement that you would require. In cases tech product, you would require a list of features here and the priority that you want to build them on. Second, phase 2, if the approval is granted, you need to start building airports, airport A and B, and then work on either buying flights or building flights in the second phase itself. And then in third phase, you can start testing with no passengers, and in final phase, you can start testing with passengers. You can also give out a sample flow for your teams to refer how the users will travel from location A to B. And then finally, metrics on how you would want to measure the success of. So there are business metrics that would talk about daily revenues, revenue growth week on week. There is adoption metrics, which means the percentage of passengers traveling to location B using our flights. And third, finally, performance metrics, which is time taken, round trips, and the user to see. Now you'd also put in assumptions here. I'm going to add a link to this PRD in the chat box or the description box, and you can definitely kind of play around with this and try to build something on your own. So I hope this helps. If you liked, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.